It's finally here. I've got it in my hand. It's the Vector AEG. All right, that's it in my hand. You guys know what this, if you don't know what this is, you must be living under the Airsoft rock. This is the Kriss Vector, and this is the AEG version, probably definitively the most highly anticipated AEG in I couldn't tell you how many years. And this is the final version. This isn't a factory sample like I have in a previous video. This isn't like a tester unit. This is the real deal, final one going out the door. So I'm gonna give you guys a full review of this beast, and we're gonna start with the externals. All right, so externally, if you guys aren't familiar with this, I'm gonna go over pretty much identical external build quality to a real Vector when you're looking at what is metal, what is polymer, and everything else in between. So starting up front, we're gonna start with the flash hider, and this is a little different. This is the Defiant style flash hider, the one you're gonna see, actually the one that it comes on pretty much every single Krytac gun out there. 14mm counterclockwise threads up underneath it, metal outer barrel on that, inner barrel inside we'll talk about in a second when we get to internals. Moving on here, the body itself is primarily polymer using metal pins and screws throughout to hold the components together. Most of these pins are relatively easy to get out, quick release kind of style, so you can actually do a breakdown of this gun. Top rail here, front to rear, is made of metal. Also, if you notice, got some flip-up sights right here. These are the Defiance flip-up sights. These are the ones designed for the airsoft market. They are made of polymer, very nice actually, but are perfectly identical to the real steel counterparts, the actual metal ones that you can purchase. You can also move to upgrade these. So if you do want to get rid of the plastic ones and go to the metal ones, just identical, like I said, just different material, you can do that as well. The front does have adjustability for up and down, so for elevation. The back is windage adjustable, and then of course a dual aperture, which I love how they did this one. Sometimes it's a real pain. They have like a two-part. This one, you just flip it right over and it's good to go. So you have the large hole there, so you can kind of do that close CQB shooting. If you want to do some fine shots at a distance, you can go to the smaller one and take more precision shots. Moving on back, we do have a new style stock here. This one actually is reinforced. It is a tank. They do have a metal sling attachment point right here in the back, so you can clip on if you want. It's actually channeled out up underneath, so it should be able to fit us. Most clips in here, I'm not sure all of them, but most of them look like they're going to fit with how much space you have. Plenty of room. And then of course you do have a length of pull back here, a couple hex keys right here, and you're actually able to move this like butt pad out a good couple centimeters, it looks like, for adjustability. So if you want a little longer, or you want to bring it all the way back down to short like you have here, you can do that. Also on the stock itself, push button right here on my thumb, you can take it and of course swing it over, it locks into place, and now you've got this little kind of almost pistol thing. With the rail on the front, since we're jumping back to the front, add a pistol grip, which is not included, and now you have an ability to like kind of have this really tight CQB weapon. Also, if you want, this is compatible with the real components. So if you want to change this stock out and you want to put the little pistol cap on that turns this thing into a pistol, you can do it. So back to that front rail real quick. That is made of metal. I want to tell you guys that. So again, I want to kind of highlight the metal parts in here. Also over here, you do have what we have, the bolt release. That is not functional. I want to tell you about that. That is just purely cosmetic. And the reason is you're going to go, well, why? I want to lock the bolt back. Well, when you pull the bolt, which is over here, again, made of metal, you pull it back, this little door opens, and you don't have to actually do that. You can actually open and close it with your hand. That exposes the hop up. We're gonna talk about the hop up in a second, but the functionality of that is just really cool. It mimics the real one, but it's not necessary. You don't have to like hold it and lock it back. So if you wanna do a hop up adjustment, flip the dust cover up, make your adjustment, close it back down, and you're good to go. Rounding out the rails in the front, we do have one rail section. It's mounted here on the right-hand side right now. You do have holes on the left-hand side so you can move it over. All right, moving to the fire controls. This is different than pretty much anything. And if you've never shot a real Vector, and I have, fortunately, been lucky enough to shoot these many times, full auto, semi, and everything in between, it's kind of cool. This is a true ambi gun, so if you're lefty, you're set. Don't even worry about it. This is 100% left and right on all these controls. Inside are electronics. When you flip the switch, it actually depresses a micro switch and takes it to the next mode. We'll actually talk about those again in internals, what's going on under the hood. So you can do that. So full auto, 2-round burst if your field allows to do that in semi, and of course take it into semi as well. So back here on the back, so you have the fire selector up here, you have the safety switch up here. Again, it's ambi like I said. In the back, in the top mode, like it's up now, you're actually locked in, no problem. Big oversized button, so you can hit it with your thumb either side. When you move it in the down position, you actually pull the trigger. You can also hear the micro switch. And what I like, they built this thing, the brake on that trigger is just like a millimeter toward the back. So if you want to flutter, I'm going to try to get it close to the mic here. I hope you guys can hear that little clicky clicky. That's how fast, if you guys want to like flutter fire this thing, shouldn't be a problem as long as you're not getting ahead of how fast the gears can turn. But what's neat about this, it not only prevents the trigger from being pulled when you have it up and in that safe mode, when you have it up in the safe mode, it disconnects the battery. So it actually is a cutoff in there for the electronics. So if you do have some kind of rare problem, like your LiPo malfunctions and your gun starts running away from you because of some weird problem, you can flip it up and lock it out. And the last thing about that switch is, again, all kinds of neat stuff going on. When you flip it up, it decocks the gun. So any tension inside of here where the spring's compressed, like maybe you've been shooting it, like the piston's maybe a little back too far. I mean, even though you shouldn't have that trouble, it actually handles the decocking on that to take the stress off the mech box and give you a lot more longevity out of that spring with not any lost FPS from storing it with the spring slightly compressed. All right, down here at the bottom at the grip, you have a little button here. You can kind of pop this cap off. If I can get it with one hand, there you go. Inside of here is your small type Tamiya connector. This is your battery space, so it is limited. Keep in mind, that is kind of one of the small things with the design of this gun. They had to find a place to put the battery. It goes in here, but it does fit those little buffer tube style batteries. No problem at all. You can get those in there. In fact, there's some small brick type batteries that will fit in there too, if you don't mind finagling getting this Tamiya connector kind of in there just right. Also inside of the gun, you do have a fuse, but it's not located in here. Again, I'll show you guys that when we get to internals here in a second. Putting this cap back on, it fits back on. It's keyed one direction, so you can't actually do it the wrong way. It locks back in place, and you're good there. Then moving on to the magazine. We're going to talk about this. Right now, currently at release, we're looking at mid-cap magazines. They are, of course, are made of polymer, just like the real ones, and they are 95 rounds. So keep in mind that may be a little different from early specs we talked about, but the new ones here are mid-caps at 95 rounds each magazine. Of course, you'll be able to pick these up anywhere that the gun's sold, have some spares. 95 is a good number for CQB. Again, you've got single shots, you get 95. You got 2-round bursts, so that's gonna give you, I'm terrible with math, 47 shots and a half. You'll get one extra bullet, one extra BB on a 2-round burst, and of course full auto, you'll be able to dump it based on your rate of fire and the voltage battery you're running. Then finally, I'm gonna show you this, even though it is kind of part of the internal section. Down this metal plate right here, you have 2 pins. You can push those 2 pins out. They pop right up. You can kind of see I got one half out right there. Once you get both of those out, you actually have the spring guide. This is where you can do a quick change spring. From what I understand, they're gonna be releasing a locking pin to prevent for one of these, it requires both to be removed. So for fields that do require a lockout, so you can't actually change your spring on the field, because this is actually a true quick change spring. You don't need a single tool. You can just press it with your hand and get it out. They're gonna actually, since it's so easy to do that, kind of like, I would say like a system of PTW, a split and a quick change there, they're gonna make it so you can lock it out to make those fields feel a lot more comfortable. And finally on the externals, I wanted to talk about the build, the polymer. I know I talked about what was metal and all this. I don't know for sure, but I've got to look at this. I've shot the real one many times. I've held the real one in my hand. I've spent quite a bit of time with it. And I'm not gonna lie, I mean, I'm not just saying this because I'm here and all that. I mean, with the trademarks and everything, I mean, all right in the spots. The Kriss Vector, the logo, and of course a few things here in these plate areas where normally you'd have like a serial number, like in a real firearm, a little, the way they did their logos, I wouldn't be surprised, since it's the same company that makes it. This is darn close, if not right on, to the real one when you're talking about the material they use. The plastic, I don't even want to call it plastic. It just, you can see the nylon fiber in it. You can see all this. It looks exactly to me like the real one. I don't know. I can't imagine they would maybe do that in Airsoft, but maybe they do if it's the same company. I can't tell you for sure, but I mean, I'd have to really get them side by side and look closely, but when it comes to the polymer body, it's really darn close. And I'm gonna tell you, I feel comfortable, like honest to goodness, throwing this thing across the room and picking it up. I mean, you'd probably break the flash hider off because that's just like a normal plastic there, but shy of that, I'm gonna tell you, this thing is built like a tank. So we're gonna talk about internals, what's under here. I'm actually going to have a full teardown coming very soon. So as soon as that video is live, I'm gonna throw it up here in the corner for you so you can actually see the entire mech box torn down bit by bit, all in one take. So you actually can see exactly what goes under the hood, because the mech box in here is very different. The piston itself sits at this angle, okay? And the motor kind of sits at a different, down at this angle. And it's this weird setup like you've never seen before. The engineering they did to put this gun together is unbelievable, and I understand why it took so long to get this thing out. So with this unique build in here, they did keep almost all the components V2 compatible, with a couple minor exceptions, just because with the piston firing at this angle and then the actual BB having to go this way, there's gonna be a few things that are gonna be a little different. So the only two parts you're not gonna have under the hood that are going to be grab off the shelf, V2, grab and go, put it in here, upgrade to your heart's content, are your tappet plate and your cylinder head. Those are the only two because of the way that whole system, it has to kind of bend. It has to send the air up this way and then send the air that way. So because of that, those two components are a little different. So bet you upgrade guys out there who want to maybe do a high-speed build, high FPS, something, I mean, change something out if that's what you really want to do, you still can do that. So if you have a favorite gear set, it can drop in here just fine. Talking about the specs in the mech box itself, you do have a polymer piston. First 5 teeth are metal on that, the rest are polymer. They do have the next to last tooth removed so your angle of engagement is correct and you're not chewing that out, as well as a metal cylinder head, full aluminum cast mech box, and 8mm steel bushings, tooling steel bushings. And they went with the tooling steel bushings because of that release when it actually takes the pressure, the tension. Everything in the mech box is used to running one direction and then has to invert the second direction. It puts a lot of stress on bearings, and that's why they opted for this steel, hardened steel bushings. And I think longevity-wise, they were thinking ahead, wanting to make sure when you made the investment, you're not going to be having issues down the road. Motor also under the hood is the 30K, which is the motor they put in their Trident series. So very high torque motor. You're not gonna have any issues pushing any spring you want. In fact, this thing with the power it comes out of the box, that motor is far overkill for what you have. So you've definitely got some umph here. You should be doing any major upgrades. It's probably gonna be a CQB gun, but for those of you that wanna put a longer inner barrel in, fully V2 compatible, it's the Krytac hop-up chamber in here with the numbers, the rotary style, the dial, everything. It clicks, as you can hear, so it just fine adjustments as you move through so you can set that perfect number and you can know, all right, I'm running a 0.25, so I'm gonna run this on like 12. Oh, I've switched to a 0.28, so I gotta dial it up. I know at home that's gonna be a 17, so if you do a mag change, so if you borrow a buddy's mag, they've got maybe different BBs, you're borrowing a speed loader, you can make those adjustments if you plan ahead. And finally, we're gonna talk electronics under here because that is the name of the game. We are talking about an electronic control system inside. So you do have a micro switch powered system, four different micro switches in here. 2 of them that handle the actual fire selection, so from semi, 2-round burst, and full. 1 for the trigger, it's a micro switch trigger, and another one that actuates as part of the cutoff lever system, so it doesn't over rotate. All those work together with the smart control system. So taking this thing to the Chrono, we're seeing the numbers you'd expect for a CQB gun, which I'm really happy about for the US. I'm glad they didn't go any higher on this thing and get it up in the high 300s or even that 400 range, because when you pick something like this up, it is ready for the indoor field. And of course, rate of fire is also good. Don't worry about that. And of course, in semi, 2-round burst, and of course full auto as well. I think if my field allows me, I'm gonna leave this thing in 2-round burst. I hope so. I hope they let you do that. They kind of make an exception to the rule because I do play a semi, but even if I played at fields that allow full auto, I think that 2-round burst or the semi is gonna be the sweet spot. All right, I know it's been a long one. Thank you for hanging out here to the very end, but I wanted to show you all the goodies on this, the Kriss Vector AEG. It's been long awaited, and there was just so much to talk about this AEG. I'm not sure if they're going to be coming out with high caps. I hope they are. I hear, I don't know if you see this thing right here, this magazine, that might be coming. I don't know if that's real or if it's a prototype, but that might be a real thing or some variation of that. If you guys want to see something a little more translucent, because you don't know how many rounds you have in here, right? Would you like to see something that's a little see-through? Let me know in the comment section below. But if you guys are looking for something premium, again, if I'm going to drop any bad news for you, it's going to be the price tag. This is not going to be a gun for everybody, especially those of you who are on a limited budget. Because of the engineering that went in this, because of what they had to spend to build this thing. I mean, it's just so much work and years of engineering and production. It's up there. In the US, it is $449. And I know a lot of you people right now are typing in the comment section going, oh my goodness, I can hear it. I can hear the keyboard keys just clicking away. But keep in mind, with the electronics they had to design from scratch, all the components they had to squeeze into this crazy little space right here and make it work, there's no way they could have brought that price down any less. So that is the bad news. That's the, I guess, probably in this review, the only thing. That, and if for those of you who are trigger heavy, like really trigger heavy, no high caps right now. So I think those are probably the 2 negatives I can say if we're gonna be dropping one of these on this and talking about it. It's price, and of course the lack of high caps at release date. But if that doesn't bother you, like me, I'm more of a milsim kind of guy. I do run limited magazines, so it's no problem. Limited round magazines. Definitely give a look at the Kriss Vector by Krytac, the AEG version. And of course, this is going to be available anywhere Krytac products are sold. And like I said, it's around $449 US, and it's going to be released in other countries. Check your pricing there. I'm not sure. It could vary based on your importation costs and taxes as well. So again, I want to hear about this. What are your thoughts? If you had the money, if you do have the money, do you have the money? Are you picking one of these up? I will definitely be grabbing one. I have been long awaiting this. I had the gas blowback one. I got rid of it because of where I lived. It's really not conducive for gas. I've been waiting many years for this to release. It's on my list for sure as a personal collection gun I'll be making an investment in. But I want to know what you guys are doing. So let me know in the comment section below. Will you pick one of these up? What's your favorite feature? And any kind of comments, anything you maybe would see to improve one of these. So guys, until next time, go out, play some Airsoft, have some fun. But no matter what you do, call your freaking hits.